Hey, this is Jim with Harvest Harmonics, and welcome to the Profitable Farmer, where we discuss different ways that you can be profitable in your farming operation. And I wanted to reiterate before I kind of get into the rest of my presentation here that obviously the end of the year is coming up. It's as of this recording, we're about a week away from Thanksgiving, and after that you got to, of course, have the holidays. Most farmers either have already wrapped up their season or are beginning to do so. And I wanted just to put a little plug out there, and that is for the tax credit, the R&D tax credit. For those of you guys who don't know, you can go through our Facebook channel and you can actually see where we actually interviewed a couple of tax experts. I'll see if we can reiterate that and maybe replay that. Probably for the holidays, we'll replay that video just so you guys can see that interview again, because the research and the R&D, or research and development tax credit, is basically a tax credit for businesses so that they can reinvest in their business. So as a farmer, you can spend it on stuff like improving your irrigation system. Maybe if you have to fix your irrigation or install a new pump or something like that, or maybe especially if you do like a more efficient pump that utilizes less water, or if you switch to an irrigation system, maybe like from flood irrigation to drip or something that's more efficient in terms of use of water. That would be one example. Sorry, guys, I have a call coming in. Let me just turn this off. Sorry. Seems like I always get calls every time I do a presentation. That's when I get calls. Sorry about that, guy. That's when I have 500 farmers all buzzing my ear off. So turnabout's fair play, though, I guess. So that's fine. Anyway, so the research and development tax credit is Uncle Sam basically rewarding you for investing in your business and to making your business more efficient. Installing solar panels is one. Utilizing irrigation systems that are more efficient in terms of their use of water. Installing our system, the Kiminosi plant booster system, is another device that qualifies for the R&D tax credit. Now, you're not going to necessarily get to write off all of what you would spend. So, if you have thousands of acres and you spend, $100,000 with me or something like that, you can't deduct all of that. But up to a certain point, you can deduct that off of your tax bill, so your tax liability is reduced. Now, you should really think about that because, you know, you want to be always making your farm and your business as efficient as possible, because that's going to save you money anyway, just in terms of your standard operating basis. But if you're able to utilize this while there's still tax credits there, then you can obviously take that off your tax liability and save quite a bit of money. In fact, we have a few guys here that are actually going to be making fairly large purchases of our technology, not only because our technology is going to make them more money in terms of their standard operation, but because they can offset some of that cost off their tax liability. So if you're looking for ways to reduce your tax bill and your tax liability for next year, then definitely give us a call. Our number is here, 324-6750. Definitely give us a call and we can walk you through our system, how it works. And I'm going to show you some slides of some of the results we've already seen. So be looking at ways to improve and make your operation more efficient, because you're going to make more money anyway, and you might as well take advantage of tax incentives to do so. So if you need more information on that, scroll through our Facebook feeds. I believe it was 2 or 3 months ago we interviewed some tax specialists about the R&D tax credit. Again, I'll probably fish through that during the holidays next week to replay that. But keep in mind we're nearing the end of the year, and now is the time when we really want to start preparing for next year. Even if you're not thinking about the next year in terms of your farming operations, you should be looking at, okay, how can we take a look at reducing our tax liability and improving our profitability for this year? And obviously, if you've already harvested, you can't do much about the harvest for this year, but you can always prepare for next year and reduce tax liability. So having said all that, what I want to talk to you today about is the Kiminosi plant booster. Now, if you've watched some of our episodes or seen some of our videos, we probably showed you some different results we're seeing. And one thing that I get a lot from farmers is, well, how does this technology accomplish all of these things? And how can it increase yield, reduce input costs, reduce fertilizer usage, improve microbial activity, improve insect resistance, improve disease resistance, improve fungal resistance, and improve quality? How does this? Is this some kind of magic bullet? Is this some kind of, you know, some kind of Jack of the Beanstalk magic bean or something like that? No, it is not those things. In fact, some people actually go so far as to call me a snake oil salesman, and I take that with a grain of salt. I know there's a lot of guys out there making big promises, but my product actually delivers these things. So what do you want me to do? You want me to not tell people how amazing my technology is just because some other guys are not as honest as they should be? Anyway, so the reason why our technology can accomplish everything that it does is because we're not chasing problems around. We're not just trying to spray for insects. Think about it. When you have an insect pressure on your farm, what do? You go and spray some kind of chemical on it to get rid of the insects. When you have a fungal problem, because let's say it's warm and humid, and you get this fungal or mold or something attacking your berries, what do? You spray a fungicide on your crops, right? If you're not getting the yield you want, what do? You put a chemical fertilizer in the field, and then what does that do? That reduces your microbial activity, so it actually harms your soil over the long term. And so we're continually chasing around all these different problems, and we're not actually handling the exact problem that you really should be, which is how do you make the plant healthy? How do you actually make the plant healthy so that it can do everything it's supposed to do, so that it can interact with this environment and produce good quality crops without harming the soil and without harming the environment, without having all these negatives that are attached to all these different sprays and stuff. Now, I have nothing against chemical and fertilizer guys. I'm sure they're great guys. I'm sure they need to make a living too. But I believe my product is superior, and I believe it's going to help more farmers create healthier food for everybody to eat. And that's really the reason why we're here. In fact, I want to showcase this with you. In case you haven't seen one of our presentations before, I'll share this with you here. And we'll go here. So our mission as a company actually is not to sell a product. It's not to make a bunch of money. It's not to kick farmers into the poorhouse. It's actually to help farmers make more money, be more profitable, but to do so in a way that creates healthier, better quality food for everybody to eat. Our real mission is to improve the quality of food that we have access to, because let's face it, with COVID and everything else that's been going on in the last couple of years, we really should be recognizing the need for improving health. And the core part of that is to improve nutrition. So if we can help farmers make more money and produce a better quality product, then everybody wins. And of course, there's environmental factors here too, because traditional commercial agriculture, the way it's normally done, is not necessarily always great for the environment. With our technology, you can reduce some of those chemical and fertilizer usage, which will reduce the need for fertilizer in big ways. So, what actually is the basis of this technology? How does it work? What are we really doing here? Well, our technology is based upon a fundamental principle of biology, which is that every living thing on this planet has some form of metabolism, some way that it converts one type of energy to another. Humans, animals, insects, all those types of things are converting food into, heat energy that it produces, that, for our body, that runs our body. Plants, on the other hand, utilize photosynthesis and the sun's energy to translate that energy from the sun and the raw materials to convert that into glucose, which it, of course, uses for fruit and vegetable production. And that's the food we all eat. Now, the second core principle of our technology is based in physics, not biology. Now, the laws of physics dictate how certain biological systems operate. It's not just some random chance that your heart beats at a certain cadence every minute, a certain number of beats per minute. It's actually established in your genetics that your heart should beat between 60 and 70 beats per minute, unless you're exercising, right? So that's a frequency, right? And that's based upon the laws of physics, and your brain sending charges to your heart to make sure that it continues to beat at that frequency is also governed by the laws of physics. And it turns out that plants also are governed by the laws of physics. It has to, how it absorbs that sunlight and utilizes sunlight to break apart the chemical bonds in nitrogen and water and carbon dioxide. That's all governed by the laws of physics. Now, up until now, there hasn't really been a successful application of this, but these factors have been known for many, many years. It's just taken a researcher who has a little bit of a different viewpoint than let's throw a bunch of chemicals at it, to be able to really unlock the secrets of how those chemical interactions and physical interactions are happening in the plant. So how does this come about? Well, we looked at healthy plants. Okay, we looked at healthy sunflowers, healthy grapes, healthy trees, different types of varieties of plants, and we noticed that the photosynthesis process gave off a frequency signature. In other words, it gave off certain electromagnetic signatures that could be measured in terms of its frequencies. And when we looked at the same varieties of plants that were not healthy, and we noticed that that frequency signature of its biological processes was altered. And the first major breakthrough that our inventor of our technology discovered was if we can introduce the frequency patterns of healthy biological processes to unhealthy plants, then those plants will regain their health and vigor, and they will start to produce more fruits and vegetables and better quality food as well. The second key element of this that's crucially important in terms of the development of technology is how do we practically utilize this on a farm? We can't just stick a big speaker in the middle of a field and start blaring out, Metallica or Mozart or some kind of music and expect the plants to just magically recover. What we've done though is take transmitters that have these radio wave frequencies pre-programmed in them. And because water is a very unique substance, it can carry radio wave signals for long distances. In fact, that's how whales and dolphins communicate. That's also how submarines communicate. So water is capable of carrying radio wave signals at the molecular level. So essentially all we have to do is attach these transmitters to an irrigation system, and then every time the farmer waters his crops, the plants are going to get this signaling system that will naturally help them recover their health and vigor, and they'll become very productive, very healthy plants, which of course translates into better quality produce. Now, just to let you guys know, there's other technologies for irrigation systems like magnets and water treatment systems and these types of things. Our system has none of that. It has nothing to do with that. This is a completely new technology. Now, before we continue here, guys, I just want to check here. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat here. I would like to answer the questions as we can. Um, I don't want to have to go through this whole presentation, but ask your questions, and I'm happy to answer them for you as we go along here. So, in a practical sense, we've kind of gone over how the technology works, but in a practical sense, how is this actually used? How does a farmer use this product? Well, all we really have to do is attach our transmitters to the outside of an existing pump or water source, and you can water your whole field with our technology. It will improve the entire field. And a lot of farmers are doing just that. They just take our kit, which you see on the left here, with our CEO, Frank Arlia, and we actually just attach this to the outside of the pump or water source. Or if you want to do a smaller trial or do greenhouse or nursery applications where you have smaller applications, we also make prefabricated pipe fittings that can be plumbed right into your irrigation line, and you can see the results that way. So our technology in a practical way improves two key areas of plant physiology. It improves photosynthesis efficiency and it improves soil health, which is crucially important, especially for sustainability. With better photosynthesis, what we're seeing is greater growth and vigor. We're seeing greater fruit and vegetable production and better quality as well. So let's take a look at some examples. And the first example here is a citrus grower who's doubled the growth rate of his citrus trees. We had 1-year-old seedlings that over 12 weeks was started to outgrow 2-year-old seedlings on his neighbor's field, and he's expecting to get to full production at least a year early. In a nursery application, we've seen a 100% faster growth rate once again, where we reduced the growth time of these dragon fruit seedlings from 10 weeks down to 5 weeks. In greenhouse applications, we see a 100% increase in overall production from 1 kilogram per pepper plant to 2 kilograms per plant with zero pesticide use on the treated field here. This is the first time the agronomist has ever said he didn't have to spray fungicide or some other chemical on his greenhouse, and that was the Kiminosi plant booster. In field trials on tomatoes, we've seen an improvement to 100% of the best quality rating with, again, zero pesticide use on these tomatoes on the treated field here. We've seen 25% increase in yield on melon production with less minor fly. We've seen 27% increases in production on artichokes with, again, less nematodes in the soil. We've seen more vigorous growth on squash and other plants here with 15% increases in growth. And these squash plants were 4 feet off the ground. They were waist high, and they were really, really big, huge differences in terms of the overall health and vigor of these squash plants. On grape plants, we've seen reduced mite infestations and other problems with insects, in this case from 48% down to less than 10% of the treated vines here. And here's the agronomy report showing that. In India, we've seen a reduction in insect damage. As you can see on the left here, lots of insect damage throughout the untreated field here. On the Kiminosi field, zero insect damage or other problems here. In terms of yield increases, we're seeing 49% increase in yield on asparagus. This is the largest asparagus grower in South America. We've seen 26% increases in yield at the National Agrarian University on watermelons. That's 12 tons per hectare more watermelons on the treated field. 18% increases in overall production on pepper plants. And here we see also an improvement in quality with like 17 full-size peppers on one plant. On lime trees, we're seeing 55% increases in yield there. In potato production, 32% increase with an extra tuber per plant on these potatoes here. In India, we've seen a 33% increase in yield on lentils. And it's not just about improvements in yield. Obviously, that's important, but sometimes it's more about quality than it is about quantity. In this case, we saw this cherry grower increase his yield by 25%, but the cherries were bigger, they were sweeter, and they were juicier. And as a result, he sold his cherries for $1 more per kilogram versus his standard cherries. And overall, that made him almost $47,000 per hectare on his cherry trees that were treated with Kiminosi plant booster. And plum trees in California, we've seen increased bricks and fruit size on these plums here. We've seen a 10% increase in overall size with better bricks to acidity ratio, so sweeter blueberries, as well as better shelf life with less bruising. We've seen 56% increases in exportability on blueberries that didn't make the quality grades necessary to export before. And on these grapes, we've seen a better bricks rating with an increase of 6 points on the brick scale without even fertilizing these grapevines. So huge differences there. Now, in terms of soil health, what we're noticing is better microbial activity in the soil, better soil conductivity, and reduction in salt content, as well as better water retention characteristics. Now, this is going to be super important in areas where there's lots of drought or where water availability is a problem, because you're going to find that you can use quite a bit less water irrigating the crops than otherwise with Kiminosi. In fact, farmers are reporting that they're decreasing the amount of water needed to water their crops, and they see much better resilience against salty or brackish water. Just to give you some ideas here, this soil test shows where we reduced the soil conductivity from 2.3 down to 1.7, and the sodium content down from 1.1 down to zero point 0.6. Now, on this almond grove, we saw a 200% better water penetration in the soil, where we actually saw a reduction of water used by 66% versus the previous year. This particular farmer saved 46% of the water that he was using with a 30% increase in production on the treated field. Now, here we have an interesting situation because you see how damaged the trees were by this excess salt content in the water on the left here. But after using Kiminosi for 12 weeks, the canopy came back and the trees got much healthier as well. So just to give you a quick summary, we're seeing increases in yield of 20% or more. We're seeing better fresh weight, better bricks rating, and higher quality ratings with better shelf life on the fruits and vegetables, better nutrient density as well. In terms of soil health, we're seeing much better soil quality, better microbial activity in the soil, and that should, of course, be a more sustainable solution for everybody as well. So just to give you guys, again, reiterate the point, it's not just about only about getting extra yield, because obviously we want more yield, we want to see better quality as well. But you also want to do this in a sustainable way so that you're able to get the maximum benefit for the amount of inputs you're using. And the Kiminosi plant booster is poised to take the agricultural world by storm simply because this is a better solution. When you can make the plant itself healthy and make the metabolism of the plant strong, you can solve so many other problems that farmers are dealing with without having to go around spraying 15 different types of chemicals or 15 different types of fertilizers or other soil inputs to correct all the different imbalances. The soil will usually handle a lot of this problem by itself if you can just make the plant and the microbes in the soil much more efficient. So I'm going to take a couple questions here if I see them here. Sorry. Now, Brian asks, can the pipes just stay pressurized without emitting water for the plants to get the benefit of the wavelengths? That's actually a good question. The way that this would work is every time you're irrigating, so basically water is flowing through the irrigation system, right? So the way our system works is the first time you irrigate, it activates the transmitters, and the transmitters are sending the signals into the water. So basically, as water's flowing through the irrigation system, it's obviously traveling with the water to the plant. Now, if the pipe is pressurized, but the irrigation system is not on, obviously that water is not moving, from the installation point to the plants, and it's not necessarily that, in other words, the radio waves are not going to travel in a non-moving water. Basically, the signals are actually stored at the molecular level, if that makes sense. And if you want more detailed technical information about how that works, you can also go to our science page at harvestharmonics.com/the-science. It actually has a really good video by our agricultural engineer, Brett Miller, who describes exactly how the frequencies are stored in the water at the molecular level and how we're able to influence the natural biology of the plant. But yes, you do have to be irrigating. So just having the line pressurized and having the water not necessarily move is not necessarily going to translate the frequencies from our system to the plant. So it would need to be a active irrigation. Otherwise, the transmitters are just sending it into the same water molecules that are already there, and it wouldn't necessarily work. But great question. I appreciate that. The next question, Maria Angel says, does technology work on horticulture? Yes, it works on all types of plants that utilize photosynthesis. We haven't tested this out on mushrooms or other types of funguses or other crops that are not plant-based or photosynthesis-based. So I don't know what the results of that would be, but I do know that if any type of plant, whether it's a row crop or trees or any type of other plant that utilizes photosynthesis, it would definitely benefit from this technology. Maria Belen says the technology could work in golf and sports fields. Yeah, actually, I don't know if I have it. Let me see. Let me just check here. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but yes, we do have some examples of turf and other grasses where we're increasing the health of the grass and improving the root structure of grass. So golf courses or any types of lawn, landscape applications, this would be really good for. In fact, we do have a gardening product for home use and smaller applications that's not going to need a big irrigation system. So if you have a garden at home, or if you have, a sorry, actually, I don't think I have the grass example here. I don't have the grass example. Sorry about that. I do have grass examples. If you want information about turf and grass or home garden use, just give us a call or fill out one of our requests for quote forms, and we'll get you the information about the gardening product. Um, how do you calculate the water storage efficiency? Well, typically, we're I'm not sure exactly what you mean by the question, Youssef. I guess I'm thinking that you're asking how we're calculating water retention in the soil. We're just relying on the farmer reports. A number of farmers have moisture sensors in the soil that actually measure both the depth of penetration of water into the soil, as well as the overall humidity in the soil as well. So we're basically relying on those reports that we get back from farmers. So that's how we're measuring that. You'd have to ask the farmers or agronomists directly exactly how they're measuring that. I know their calculation is very technical, and I can probably dig that information up if you want to. Um, Send us your email address or just send us a private message on Messenger. We'd be happy to share that technical information with you. But generally, we have agronomists that have moisture sensors that are reporting that they're using less water because the soil has more moisture in the soil and it doesn't necessarily need to be irrigated as often or as much. So that's the way we're measuring that. Any other questions, guys? This is great. I love to get lots of questions here and answer people. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking by myself when I do these presentations. It's interesting because I do so many of these presentations all the time, and I don't always get feedback at a live thing, but then I get people saying, "I've been watching you for months and months and months." I'm like, "Oh, great! Thanks for watching." So, but I think that's about all the questions we have here. I tell you what, guys, if you guys have more questions, again, feel free to give us a call 727-324-6750. You can email us at service@harvestharmonics.com, or you can go on our website and fill out a request for quote form and set up a meeting, a one-on-one meeting where we can discuss our technology, how it works, and how we can help you. But in general, what our mission is, again, we want to help farmers. Um, our mission as we started was to help farmers create healthier products for all of us, and if we really partner with farmers, with the people that are growing the food for us, we know that they want to produce a healthy product, they want to produce a high quality product, and they want to increase the amount of product that they're producing so that we can feed the world as well. And when you can partner that with good technology that's able to make the plants super healthy and super strong, I think we're really going to be onto something. We're really going to help, hopefully, change the world, and that's really the mission here. So our goals are big and lofty, but with big lofty goals, you need lots of tools that really work, and this is what this technology does. So, as I mentioned before, as we close out the year 2021, take advantage of the research and development tax credits, and utilize systems like ours that are going to make your operation more efficient and more profitable. And for those of you guys around the world that's not in the United States, just think about how can you make your farming operation as efficient as possible and productive as possible. If you're looking at just adding more inputs, just that's a road that's going to lead you down spending a lot of money on inputs and not necessarily creating a sustainable future for everybody. So words to the wise. I'll let you guys make up your own mind on that. But if you are interested in this product, give us a call 727-324-6750. We'd love to work with you and help you become part of the future of farming today. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.